He lifted his glass with the confidence of a man delivering judgment. "The only children I consider mine," my father announced to the room, "are the ones who brought me pride." Cheers followed, along with laughter, clinking cutlery, flashes from cameras. Then his gaze landed on me, cold, final. He didn't shout, but his words carried every corner of the hall. "You may go." For a heartbeat, I thought I'd misunderstood, but the silence that settled across the room told me I hadn't. I rose slowly, my dress suddenly heavy and suffocating. My husband stood beside me. What he did next is the part none of them will ever forget. Years ago, I would have done anything for that man's approval. I was a child who stayed home, who cleaned up his disasters, who kept the family from falling apart. He favored the ones who shouted the loudest. My brothers with their failed ventures disguised as ambition. My sister who only appeared when her bank account ran dry. Still, I stayed loyal. I kept coming back, until the night that changed everything. I passed his study and heard his voice through the door. "She's not worth much. Let her husband manage her," he said. Tired, careless. I stood in the hallway, unseen, and something inside me stopped. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I simply stopped chasing a man who never once turned around to see who was following. After that, I saw the signs. A new property deed missing my name. Business shares quietly redirected to my brother. A fund promise of my children rerouted as though they didn't exist. Each action was deliberate, precise, like he was punishing me for not failing loud enough. So I learned to smile, to stay quiet, to let him think I was harmless. And while he boasted about his kingdom, I gathered proof, emails, contracts, bank statements. I didn't plan it out of anger. I planned it because I finally saw him clearly. Then I spoke to his partners, just small comments, little questions. Doubts began to grow where loyalty once lived. My husband didn't understand at first. Then I showed him everything. His expression changed. From that moment on, I wasn't alone. We didn't confront my father. We prepared. His retirement banquet was grand. Gold decor, expensive wine. Everyone dressed to witness the final chapter of his triumph. My brothers laughed beside investors, proud of their positions at his side. What they didn't know was that the board had already received the reports. An audit was already in motion. The retirement fund was frozen. His empire was quietly crumbling, and he didn't even feel the ground shifting. He stood to toast himself, unaware that by morning his phone wouldn't stop ringing. Not with congratulations, but with demands for answers. Then came his final attempt to control me. "You can leave." Before I could speak, my husband drew an envelope from his jacket. He placed it before my father. "Effective immediately," he said steadily. "You've been removed as chairman. The board voted this morning. Unanimous." Silence. Then gasps. Conversations died mid-sentence. Cameras froze in the air. My brothers stared at him like they no longer knew who he was. My father looked at me, not as his daughter, but as a person who dismantled everything he thought untouchable. He walked out before dessert, shoulders no longer broad, but defeated. The applause that once honored him was replaced by whispers. When it was over, I stepped outside into the night. The air felt light. My husband followed. "Are you all right?" he asked. "I'm free," I said. I haven't seen him since. The company rebuilt itself without his shadow. The family splintered. My brothers avoid me. And I've learned that peace isn't always earned through forgiveness. Sometimes it's carved from truth. He believed power was control. I showed him it was honesty. At that dinner, he raised a glass to the children he claimed as his own. He never realized a real lesson was across the table, quietly learning how to bring down a kingdom without lifting her voice.